In today's episode, your IT fix a sparking fuse box. Concrete saw 8 ISP cables. Self-starters. Do what I mean, not what I say. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Your IT fix a sparking fuse box. Just had a call from one of our oldest clients, around 11 machines and one server all running on site. He was panicking on the phone. We have just had a power cut, so everything is offline, and the box is sparking. Me, can you explain further, what box are you talking about? The electrical box you installed. And it's sparking, is there anything you can do? This was installed by someone who worked for this company before I came on board. Me, I can recommend you call the fire brigade and your electricity supplier, there is nothing I can do. But your IT, it's computers, you can fix it. Me, if it's sparking it is a fire risk, I need you to phone the fire brigade now. It is not IT. He hangs up angrily, and shortly after I get a call from my boss, who is elsewhere today, saying just had a complaint that you wouldn't fix a sparking fuse box. Is this correct? I explained the above call, and he goes good. It's not our problem if it's caught fire, and they're 300 miles away, the fire brigade will get there quicker than we can. I don't know what actually happened in the end, but I can now see all their machines and the server is back online, so. Job done. Back to checking if machines are fully patched. Concrete saw 8 ISP cables. Several years ago, I was hired to work at an older office tower, about 15 floors and built back in the 60s, updated in the 90s, and getting a full rework from foundation to roof, as was the whole shopping center it was attached to. The old mall was mostly gone, and the plot was being redeveloped as a mixed use of residential, commercial, and recreational. The tower itself was to cover about 2/3 of the commercial use, and by the time I arrive on site, all the older hazardous materials were gone, the building had been mostly done, and a local ISP had fully set up shop in an old anchor store of the mall, converted to a massive call center, and had 3 floors of offices in the tower. Sounds strange to have tenants move in while construction is ongoing, but it happens a lot more than you'd think. Anyway, I'm on site to run the tech support center for the complex itself, since the developer really wanted to be as up to date as possible. This meant free Wi-Fi all over the place, fiber installed throughout the new shops, offices and tower, as well as the condos and apartments being built. Ours was to be the hub of support for tenants and guests, while the ISP had their own internal support. Things are great, my team is amazing and work well, my boss is leaving me to handle the department as I see fit, tech folk can really babysit themselves, and I'm working with the various job site supervisors pretty well. Except for the construction company one. I have zero idea what I ever did to their job site supervisor, but he hated me from minute one. 3 months into my job, I have a meeting with all the contracted company site supervisors and the job site supervisor herself. We needed to work out how to best avoid issues with the tower lobby getting a new floor, since it needed new concrete, and the area out front was getting replaced as well. I'm pointing out areas to be cautious around, since there's a lot of cables and newly installed fiber that was laid before the lobby was redone, IDKY, but is what it is. Construction supervisor, CS, just huffs and tells me he and his boys know what they're doing and just ignores me. I ask that they please be careful or the whole tower will lose internet connection. He brushes me off again and job site sup, JS, says they'll be careful, but she pats my shoulder in a way that lets me know she saw the brush off. Y'all can see where this is going, right? A couple days later, I walk into the office and saw a concrete saw on a bobcat outside the lobby, getting ready to start the day. I just shake my head and go about my business, silently praying to the tech gods nothing happens. Something happened. About an hour or so after the start of the day, everything goes down. Not just internet access, but everything connected to any system, phones included. I admit, I giggled a little. When I walk out the side entrance used while the lobby is closed, I see said Bobcat saw with mangled, and I mean mangled, cables, wires, and fiber, with CS and JS arguing over a blueprint of the area they were cutting. I walk up to find out what's going on, and CS rolls his eyes as I approach. JS, as you can see, they cut the pipe holding the tower cabling. CS, angry, how the hell were we supposed to know? The schematics show it's on the other side of the lobby plaza. Me, may I? CS shoves the paper into my hands. JS, I tried to tell him that it's been in the plans that the cabling was here since the final revision, but he insists it's on the other side. Me, looking over the blueprints/schematics, well, you're both right. JS and CS, what? How? Me, turns paper to them, these are from 2 months before the final design and the moving of the cables. See? Points to date, but someone, IDK who, labeled these as final. CS grabbed the prints out of my hand while he looked over them, and JS was right over his shoulder. CS, well, I'll be. JS, who gave these to you? CS, my boss back at the office, and I think he got M from the developer. JS, looking annoyed, did you not go over the plans in our meeting? They show the cables being right here. CS, why would I? I was told you had what I had. And why'd they move the cables to being with? Me, because they'd have been under the new ADA ramp you'll be installing. It was felt they'd be easier accessed over here if there was an issue. JS sad face now just ignoring CS, how long until we can get the tower up and running? I turned to the saw, and it was really bad. Like, my stomach turned level bad. Me, good news or bad news? JS, bad news first. Lemme hear it. Me, pointing some shiny bits, these are part of a connector to the repeater up on 2, which means we'll have to replace that, and then run new wires down and out. But we'll have to dig up out to the junction and check the damage there, which I'm really hopeful there isn't any. Plus, the whole section of insulated pipe will have to be replaced. It's slag at this point, we can't patch and forget it. JS, and what's the good news? Me, I'm not the one who'll have to tell the ISP that their office will be down for at least 36 hours. JS, you can't be serious? Me, very much am. Between the repeater, pipe, and possible junction replacement? That's at least a day due to shipping and installation. Add another half day just to run the wires. JS turned to CS, get your boss on the horn now. CS runs off as we hear a very loud and upset gentleman from the ISP coming up. Me, walking away, good luck. JS, I'll need it. JS, CS and myself later work with the ISP to get everything handled, and we managed to get everything done in just under 30 hours. JS told me that the ISP rep calmed down pretty fast when he realized she didn't cause the issue, but I heard CS and his bosses got an earful. IDK exactly what went down at the construction office after everything was repaired, but I heard that there was an investigation into the blunder with the blueprints, and someone lost their job. CS was never clear about the whole thing, his embarrassment about it kept him pretty reserved on the fallout. But after this, CS and I got along much better. He listened, asked for my input, and once the work was done, we went out for beers. We still joke about the great blackout in the office, and I have an enlarged picture of the mangled mess in the conference room. Self-starters. Used to work for a hardware support department at an international investment bank. Most whitespace work is an ongoing refresh project to update most end users' workstations on a rolling 3-year cycle. If the department doesn't want to spend the money, however, sometimes they opt for just ordering RAM from us or holding off on a hope and a prayer for an extra cycle. Come one department, we were swapping the boxes for some team that had been in limbo for a while, and when I came to a little waif of an analyst, she stopped me after I said I was taking the box. Usually it's some issue of I'm still working, you can wait. We did it during the day for back office folk, because then we can watch them load their accounts/test their apps in front of us. The process takes 10 minutes, but nah, she logged out and shut down, then crawled under her own desk, unplugged the PC, opened it up and took the RAM out. This is mine. Where's our RAM? She opened up a desk drawer and, indeed, 2 sticks of the ancient unshielded RAM we used were there. Well, you know I should probably report you for messing with your computer, but I ain't even mad. Color me impressed you knew which kind to buy too. This was easier than getting my boss to approve upgrades. Well, here's our number. New box uses the same type of RAM. Call us if you end up BitLockering it. You'll get better results than running it through the helpdesk ticketing process. The best end users are the ones you never see. Do what I mean, not what I say. Background: I worked in IT support for a major bank somewhere in the UK. This tale is from long before COVID and working from home. We'd always taken disaster recovery seriously, as long as we had a week's notice of the impending disaster, but that's another tragedy. But after September 11th, we started planning for business continuity too, what to do if your workplace is compromised. So we acquired a building on the opposite side of the country, kitted out and wired it up, and we were all set. The first test was a bit ropey, but we improved with practice and made sure to rotate staff and keep everything written down at the recovery site. Skip forward a couple of years and I got the alert it's that time, and I have to join the other designated survivors across the country. We all make our way to number called, gain entry to the building and find our desks. Power up our desktops, boot up and connect to the nothing. That's odd, none of us can connect to the network. One of the network guys has a laptop and dials in, checks that all the network switches have switched. Yup, it's all good, we just can't see it. So he starts following the network cable from his desktop PC, along the floor to the 2-foot x 2-foot floor tile where all of the cables are concentrated before going underfloor to the switch, lifts the tile. And on the underside saw about 2 inches of each cable protruding into empty space. It was as if someone had taken a pair of shears and just chopped through the lot of them. Which is what had happened. Some months previously, it had been decreed that floor tile must be moved. I think it was to allow for more desks or something. The guy moving it saw all the wires when he lifted it and asked what to do about them. Oh, just remove them, said his boss, meaning unplug each cable from its socket on the underside of the tile, so that they can be replugged later. But the workman's psychic interface was on the fritz that day, and he only heard the words that actually came out of his boss's mouth. Snip snip. So yeah, we didn't pass the business continuity test that day.